Welcome back to another episode of Discount Paranormal. I'm Tim, and I'm out with Justin.
How's it going, everybody?
And this week we're talking about The Black Knight Satellite.
Where is she?
It's from the movie.
No, this is not another shitty Christopher Nolan movie. The Black Knight Satellite is actually pretty awesome comparative. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I did not like the Christopher Nolan Batmans. I'm sorry, I didn't like them.
Nah, I mean, they
Unpopular
were all
opinion.
right, man. They were all right.
Yeah, I thought the new one was better.
I haven't seen the new one yet.
I liked it, but I'm kind of already predisposed to like it because I like comic books.
Yeah.
So my opinion counts for nothing. All right. So we are actually talking about some real
As
stuff
per
that actually
usual.
matters. Yeah. We're not talking about Edgar Casey and psychics and being able to see the future, which you can't do. I really wish you could. Maybe some people can. But this week we're talking about potential alien tech that orbits the Earth. And that's pretty fucking dope.
Oh yeah, dude, that's way more exciting.
Yeah, for sure it is. It's
Just
I think
for
it's
the-
real. I think it's 100% real.
Yeah. I mean, if it is real, that's 100% proof.
Yes. Without question.
That's all you need.
Did we? I don't remember if we talked about it last week, but there was an article that came out, a video actually, not so much about this, but about other alien tech potentially.
Oh
So,
yeah.
There's this
One that
dude.
crashed into the ocean.
Well, it was like they were like recovering like a meteor or something in the sea or the ocean. I don't really know my bodies of water very well, but essentially it was a guy from MIT. Pretty sure it was MIT. Is it MIT or Harvard? One of those two. Ari something. He's a doctor. He's a smart guy.
I know who you're talking about. I can't
Right.
remember.
But he found like these weird metals in it. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
like, after all the testing and stuff, he's like, this does not come from Earth. It's not naturally occurring. And this meteor definitely did not come from our solar system. Like it's
Yeah,
not
like,
from
as
the
far as we
asteroid belt
know
or something.
It's not a
It came
naturally
from
occurring.
another solar system. You know what I mean? Another star, essentially. You know what I mean? He's like,
they're these little spheres.
mm-hmm,
They're like millimeters across.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're like, what was it, like iron, titanium, or something?
Yeah, it was something about like the isotopic ratio of it
Yeah.
was weird. That it's like it doesn't happen. He's like, it's not possible to happen in nature. It had to have been made, and it came from another solar system. Therefore, you know what I mean? Like
That's pretty.
you know what I mean? It's like
Like if you could definitely
probable.
prove this, like, no, this can't happen, then there's only one explanation.
Right. And again, this was only a couple weeks ago. So this is when this story isn't like, months or years old. You know, I mean, it's not 15 years old like most UFO stories. It's really, really recent.
From
And
like
they're
last
still
month.
doing it. They're still looking into it. Yeah, they're still looking into it. They have a bunch of samples I haven't even tested yet. They have like video from like the underwater
Dude, like
sub
the
camera thing that they had, like that they haven't looked
Yeah,
at.
he was saying like, dude, there's a very good chance when we look at the video, there might be some sort of alien-esque craft or alien made
technology down there. Yeah. So strap in, because I think if that happens, it's gonna be pandemonium. I think people are gonna freak out. I don't think it's gonna be like Orson Welles doing a radio show freak out where people die. You know what I mean? And like riots in the streets.
I mean, nowadays, dude, it'll be big news for like a month,
right?
and then
Yeah,
everyone will start forgetting about it.
yeah. It'll have
And it'll only
COVID
be like
part due.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
pretty
It'll
much.
come out. And then
Yeah,
nobody
all of
will
a
care
sudden,
anymore.
yeah, it's like COVID 43.
They'll. You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna do it right
Zeta
right
strand.
before the next election. So there's like a story like a month before the election, and then nobody cares because everybody's gonna be so polarized by who gets elected that they're not smart enough to realize that no presidents make actual decisions.
Yeah,
It's all run by the
Yeah,
shadow
it'll
government, and
be
the reptilians.
forgotten.
Everybody knows that.
yeah.
It's common
Especially-
knowledge. The reptilians
Yeah.
run the world.
I mean, it's plain. It's plain. Like there's videos of their eyes changing.
Well, yeah, maybe, maybe.
You ever see those videos?
I have. Yeah, of course. Who are you talking to? Of course, I've seen them. I've seen them
Like, they
100
change
times.
and they're like sometimes like they blink sideways and shit.
Yeah, but like, there's also like other parts of that too, and I would consider myself a conspiracy theorist and all that kind of stuff. But I also understand that like sometimes like shutter speed on cameras and stuff like that makes stuff look a little weird. Like what like I'll take for example like every movie when they shoot like the side of a car, it looks like the wheels are going backwards
Yeah,
because the wheels are going so fast that the camera can't keep up with it. So like the shutter makes it look like it's going backwards.
dude,
or
you ever
something
see
like
that one where the shutter speed is the same speed as the helicopter
Yeah, and it doesn't look like the blades
rotors,
are
and
moving.
it's just standing still, and it's just going up into the
Yeah,
air.
that's freaked me out.
Yeah, that
It
is
freaked me out. I was like,
creepy.
what is happening? Like, that's awesome. I've seen videos of like planes stuck in the air. Like they
Yeah,
won't move. I don't know if that has to do with the camera or not, but like they're just like stuck in air and
Well-
they're not moving.
dude, I've seen ones where there's like birds,
Yeah.
like small birds.
Mhm.
It looks like it just like if my hand was the bird, right? It just
Yeah.
would come up, hover, like no wings, and then it just
Yeah.
like that.
Glitches in
And
the
it's
matrix.
because
man.
the camera's catching it in between
Right.
flaps.
Yeah.
So it just looks like it's sitting there. Pretty
So-
cool though.
So none of this has to do with the actual show.
No, it's a
At all.
tangent. A tangent.
So the satellite is believed to be 13,000 years old. Where they're getting the age from is anybody's guess. I know there's probably some sort of thin like explanation for it of why it's
Yeah.
13,000 years old, but there's no pieces of it. There's no way to carbon date it. There's no way to do any of that. And even carbon dating is kind of nebulous. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not right. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
Who-
it'll get
who
you in the
knows?
general ballpark.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it might be 100 years old. Who knows? It might be 1,000,000 years old. It might not exist at all. Who knows? You know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure that 13,000 was just made up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that, like I said, there's somebody said something about why it's that old,
Yeah.
but it's probably some a-hole on Wikipedia that said it. You know, but it's been there for 13,000 years allegedly, and you know, essentially since humans first developed civilization, it's been watching us, right? And like, well, to mainstream science, because we kind of got into like the younger Dryas stuff last time, you know, where we kind of briefly went over that, which I think we probably should do an entire episode on it because it's super interesting, actually, and it's kind of in the vein of the show because it's lost civilization. So do the
Yeah, I mean,
research. No, I'm talking
yeah,
to
I
you.
mean-
You do the research.
Oh yeah.
I'll make broad generalizations. You do the research.
You come up with the idea and send me off on my own.
I mean, it's even possible that it's a theory, and it's one that I just made, but it's like our progenitors, right? That the aliens created humans.
Yeah, if
They
you're going
put us
off
on
that
Earth.
that one theory where they're like
I think it
the
was
aliens
Stitchin.
created us.
It might be Zachariah Stitchin that came up with that, with the
Think so.
Anunnaki and all that kind of stuff. But I can't be 100% on that. I'm pretty sure though. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. And that they're watching our development. They're kind of pushing us one way or another. You know what I mean? And the satellite is there to report back kind of data. Like, think about it this way too, because we're putting like radio and TV and signals into space constantly. So maybe they're just like gathering that up and they're shooting the fucking honeymooners, to Alpha Centauri, and they're watching it. You know what I mean?
Fucking honeymoon.
They're like super into Friends right now. You know what I mean?
Dude, the A-Team.
And Alpha Draconis, they're loving it. Yeah, they're watching the A-Team. Yeah, they're watching like the
they're loving the A-Team right now.
yeah, they're big Voltron fans. And I mean, it's a theory, and it's a shaky theory. I'll admit to it. But I mean, essentially, like we don't really have a lot of information on it, so a lot of it's, like I said, it's not verifiable. Right. So right now, we just have to take best.
Not unless
guesses.
we go up there with this express like mission to try to get it.
But when I say that, like the information that we have is not really verifiable, I mean the general public.
Oh
It's very important to say that because there are some efforts to look at this thing. That's for the people that can afford it, which is the government who's using our money
Yeah.
to find out about it and not tell us about it. The sons of bitches, they're taking our money and they're lying. Maybe they're not lying.
Give me
Maybe
something,
they
man.
don't know.
Give me
too.
something.
You know what I mean? Maybe they don't know either, man. Because they're just people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're
You
just
got a
humans.
point.
We're only so smart. We can't really I don't know if we really have the capacity to understand the intricacies of the entire universe, let alone an advanced alien race. You know, I don't think they
whose
understand
motives
that.
and everything would be far beyond what we could probably comprehend.
Right. I mean, so the age itself of the satellite is definitely debatable and 100% speculation, in my opinion. But the fact that there's something out there orbiting the Earth, that's not debatable. It's absolutely there. There's
there's
several
definitely something there.
there's several verified NASA images of it. You can Google it.
You go,
Black
you
Knight
go on their
satellite.
like. I'm pretty sure you can go on their website and see it.
Yeah, but they'll say like it's like a, what do they call it? Like a blanket. Like,
It was like a thermal blanket or something like that.
yeah.
That like peeled away from one of the ships.
Right. And looks gigantic when you're, in space. The picture is taken from like fucking 100 miles away, and it still looks gigantic. Really? A blanket?
That's
one
the
hell of a
biggest.
blanket.
Yeah.
that's I mean, that's
I mean,
insane.
it gets cold up there, man. You know, they got to cover the whole
Yeah.
ISS.
It's a solar snuggie, sir. We got to keep our astronauts warm up there.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was so like the I don't know. I'm gonna air quote say signal, right? Have been detected as early as 1899. 1899, right? For example, in that year, one of the greatest minds ever lived. I think nobody's even arguing that now. Nikola Tesla. His stuff is still revolutionary. AC current, for instance. You know what I mean? Literally changed the world. How everything works. Everything you know and love today is probably AC current, right? He developed a high voltage radio transmitter when he was working in Colorado Springs, which is in Colorado, in case you didn't know. Yeah. Did we get into that last week where we were running our mouths about Virginia Beach being in a different state? Yeah, people, they like to do that. You know what I mean? Like Paris, Ohio. You lying bastards. There's no way.
And I
this
think
is nice. I don't even know if there is one in Ohio, but there probably is.
no, dude,
there's no way
there's
it's
a
nice.
Paris, there's a Paris somewhere, and they have like a little mini Eiffel Tower they built there.
See, it's a lie.
Yeah.
It's all a lie. Because there's no way like Paris, Ohio is as nice as Paris, France. There's no way. This is not possible. Everything in Ohio sucks, I assume. Moving on. All right. Well, it was on and it was working. Tesla began to receive what he believed at the time to be signals that appeared to be intelligent. You know what I mean? And so I guess when you're thinking about that, like radio signals coming in, as best as I can explain it, like what intelligent means. You know what I mean? Like what that intelligent signal is actually saying.
Yeah.
So he believed that since the signal would repeat periodically and it had signs of order, like it wasn't just like random noises coming
Blips
in.
and stuff. Yeah.
It was like it gave the signal, it wouldn't come back for a while. It was like intermittent. You know what I mean? It would send it, stop, send it, stop, and it was always in some sort of order. You know what I mean? Like it made sense to the guy that knew everything about it listening to it. He knew that it wasn't just random waves coming in. It's like it's not, the odds of it are really high, I guess. You know what I mean? Or really low of it being random. And that's what made Tesla believe that the signals were extraterrestrial in origin. And he already believed, anyway, that he was getting like psychic information, I believe, from aliens anyway to create all the patents and stuff that he had, which, by the way, were numerous.
Oh yeah,
that dude's got a ton
dozens.
of them. And then he's also got a dozen. He's got dozens and probably hundreds of them that were confiscated after his death.
Oh yeah, dude. Like the government came in after the day he died, and cleared out the safe in his hotel room and everything.
I would, honestly, like if you're in their position, and
because at one point, dude, he was talking about like he knew how to make like a death ray.
Yeah.
Shit like that. Like the government would have loved a death ray.
That's awesome. They do have death rays. I'm sure of it.
Now, but
they got like they have real life rail guns. Like stuff.
Well, dude, I mean,
you would see in like Halo.
They have a truck that they could drive up to a crowd. It's a riot control truck.
Oh, is it the sound?
The sunburn one.
Oh, I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah, like gives you like a mild sunburn or some shit like that.
Well, if you're like me and are redheaded, it's severe.
Well, it's like discomfort is what it really is. And then it like shows up on your skin as like a sunburn.
I think they have one that'll make you like poop yourself. Like it's like it like rattles your vibration or something, and then like literally you will lose control of your bowels. Like, and then you got to go home because now you're embarrassed.
Oh yeah, dude. If a whole crowd shits themselves, whatever's happening is over.
That's a tough spot, dude. But at least you're not alone.
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple thousand.
You got
people doing the
everybody
same
walking
thing.
away with their pants sagging because it's got a big Duke in it.
Dude, they're all
You
walking
know?
like
Yeah,
this,
they're all
trying to-
waddling. Yeah. Awful. God, I hope it was in the winter because you don't want just a whole bunch of people with shorts and that happening.
just trails leading off.
Because I feel like any kind of like protest or anything like that, it's going to be filled with people with cargo shorts,
Yeah,
filled to the brim. Cargo shorts.
you just gotta
for
hope
everyone.
that they're wearing like
or
extra
jorts.
tight, like boxer briefs or something.
Yeah.
Something,
Oh my God, it's awful.
something that has some grip to it. So
That's awful. What? That's so devious and ingenious at the same time.
oh
I
yeah, 100%.
I know what we'll do. We'll make them shit themselves. That'll stop this protest right in its tracks.
Nobody's up to protest.
No,
got-
I'm not
when they
up
got
to do
load in their
anything
pants.
if I gotta do that. God almighty.
I'm willing to go home, take a hot shower, try to forget about everything that just happened.
Yeah, you don't tell nobody. Nobody mentions it.
No,
Nobody was available for comment.
no, for damn sure.
No,
Nobody
they all
was-
took off.
Just ran. But you know, when Tesla first began receiving these signals, right? He thought that, like we just said, like they're coming from Mars.
Right.
But in his defense, Mars was like a super popular choice for the time for like the potential for intelligent life in our solar system
Right.
outside of Earth. Like even H.G. Wells' like War of the Worlds was released. Yeah, it was released in 1898.
Yep.
And told of an alien invasion of creatures from Mars destroying England.
Yeah, Tom Cruise. Yep.
Yeah.
He was from Mars. Where's Xenu from? That's where Tom Cruise is from. Where is Xenu?
I don't know where the fuck Xenu's from. He's
The
I doubt it's
imagination.
from Mars though.
He's from the imagination.
Imagination. However, like after careful consideration and recalculation, Tesla
Wise
changed.
decision, by the way.
Yeah, he changed his idea and believed they would be coming from a different part of space.
Right.
Of course, like everybody, much like they would today, they didn't believe that Tesla. They didn't believe Tesla. They
Well,
thought he was insane.
in his defense, on top of the H.G. Wells thing coming out just a year before that and being like a huge like mega hit. Which have you ever read the original book?
I
It's
have
very
not, no.
good. It's very good. It's one of the only books I've ever actually read. I lie and tell people I've read hundreds of books.
Yeah.
That was
I've
only one of them.
Books. Two of them were picture books.
I read it. I read the Satanic Bible. I read like a third of the actual Bible, and then I think I read like something for dummies. One of those books. I think that was it.
Or the Worlds for Dummies. That's where you got your
Yeah, I just
information.
got the cliff notes. That's all I mean. I
Yeah.
got the gist.
That's all I needed.
I got
Yeah.
the gist. But wasn't it then that like, and I might be messing my history up, but they were like, what am I trying to say? Telescopes were getting so good that they could actually see Mars, and like the dude was like drawing, like it looked like it had canals on it and stuff like that too.
I don't know if that was then or, but it was.
Dude, that
Right
could have
around
easily
that
been
time.
in like BC times, or whenever like the Romans or whoever, Copernicus or
No, they weren't nearly that good.
not Copernicus.
Back then, they could see those planets
it wasn't Magellan.
more like lights,
Yeah, yeah.
but
One
they
of the
wouldn't have been able
guys
to like map.
somebody saw Mars a long time ago and started drawing like it looked like there was canals. So it was a popular belief for many
Yeah,
years.
I mean,
that
dude,
Mars was
even that
popular.
like it was still pretty popular. Like, when did Mars Attacks come out? Like the 90s, right?
Yeah, like mid to late 90s, I think.
Like Mars has always been the go-to planet.
Yeah.
For aliens. Like, even now.
yeah, that's what
Dude, that's good. I just love that movie for the way they talk.
yeah.
Anyways, like this ridicule, yeah, they may have come out of jealousy because of the many
Yeah.
inventions that Tesla had.
Right.
and they were all significantly ahead of their time.
They were.
You know,
They were.
and
Think of the
not-
radio. Just the radio.
well, dude, he came up with the
That's
first
incredible.
controlled boat and showed it off.
Really? I never heard
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, like
Pretty
he
neat.
made it like a game for people because they made him think. He made him think it was like,
Magic or something.
yeah, it was something like, we're gonna play a game, and if you think it's gonna go right, it'll go right. And they're like, okay, it's gonna go right. He'd hit the fucking button to go right.
It's clever.
Make him think that they had like.
And every
powers
time they
for it.
did it, he had to give him a nickel. Yeah.
No, it's actually something that happened.
You know, based off inflation, was like $1,000 in 1899.
But not, but a few years later, inventor and Nobel Prize winner Marconi,
Right.
I'm sure
Italian.
you know, if you know Tesla, you know who Marconi is.
He's an Italian gentleman from
Yeah.
Italy, not like New York Italian.
No,
Italian.
but he also detected what he believed to be an artificial signal coming from space.
Well, there you
But
go.
the problem is that
Airtight.
Marconi was using like several of Tesla's patents.
Really? Was he?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, he stole like most of his, like he beat Tesla to the first like transmission, like
Really?
wireless
Okay.
transmission.
Okay.
He sent like an S, like the letter S,
Okay.
like
Of all the
telegraph
letters
kind
to
of things.
pick.
But yeah, he actually stole a bunch of his stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you have a kind of like the correlation kind of extends a little farther than just the signal because they both claimed to invent the radio, but now we
Right.
know who did.
Right.
So,
And-
and in 1945, like even the U.S. Supreme Court gave the patent to Tesla and
See-
refuted. But unfortunately, this is after Tesla died.
Well, the thing of it is, and I'm going to tell you why, the Italians did not challenge this because it was 1945. We just whipped their ass in WW2.
What
What are they
had
gonna
better
do?
things to worry about than who invented
We
the radio.
might have just evaporated 1/3 of Japan for no reason really, other than because we could, and we spent a lot of money on it. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure that project cost a lot of money.
Oh, I'm sure.
They're not gonna fight it.
No.
They're not gonna
And
fight
plus,
it.
this wouldn't even been. Well, I mean, this would have been like small claims essentially over it.
At the
Like,
time,
it wouldn't have been
one of the
like
most significant
government.
inventions.
Yeah, true.
At that time, maybe not 1945, but in 1899, that time frame sure was. It sure was
Oh yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah, I
it's a
mean,
big
I
deal.
guess you got a point. You got a point.
It's like people fighting over like who created television. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a big deal.
It's yeah. I don't know if I was just thinking. I don't know if governments would have got involved, but maybe.
Maybe. I mean, it depends on how much money was in it for 'em. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, like, and what we know now about what was happening,
Mhm.
most likely Marconi and Tesla were in fact detecting the same signal
Right.
from what we now call the Black Knight satellite.
Right. Around that time, they're like the 1945-ish, when the Supreme Court was saying that we were better. 1954, more specifically, is when like the first real reports of a strange object orbiting Earth started, to come to the surface. People were starting to talk about it.
Yeah, like more mainstream, like more people were seeing it, not just
Right. Exactly. Well, now like technology has advanced quite a bit. They're
the idea of it can travel faster.
bingo. Yeah, exactly right. And in line with this, like, well, before that, like it wasn't just that it was getting reported, but it was also getting reported that it was alien in nature. Because the 50s and stuff is kind of like golden age for aliens. It was in all the science fiction books, and they were starting to make movies about it. You know what I mean? I even think like the original The Day the Earth Stood Still was in the 50s. Stuff like that. Like the alien movies were big, like alien invasion movies were big time. And so like you have to take some of it with a grain of salt because of the culture in America at the time. Roswell.
Yeah, like
was
everything
only-
was alien.
Right. So in line with the story of the Black Knight satellite, so like just like Roswell in 1947, right? The Pentagon and the other subsequent government agencies got super upset about this story getting out. right? They're like, they can't keep a secret on nothing.
No,
You know what
no.
I mean? I mean,
Back to back.
right. It's like you got Roswell.
Huge leaks.
The guy's like, no, we definitely did find UFOs, and I was like a general or
Yeah.
whatever. And then they're
And
like,
that came
no,
out in the newspaper too.
yeah. They're like, no, wait a minute. Sorry, we thought this thing from another world. We got that confused with tinfoil and sticks.
Yeah. It was a weather balloon. Sorry, guys.
What? What? It was also home of the bomb wing that dropped the nuclear bombs. You guys don't know what a weather balloon is?
Yeah.
You didn't do
They don't
enough
know.
research into it to know that it was a weather balloon before you said it was a flying saucer.
Yeah, no, that was a little that was a rare occasion where the truth came out
Right.
before any Men in Black type people can
Right. It was home of
get
like the
their hands
Enola
to it.
Gay and stuff was stationed there. You know what I mean? Like it was a big time place, That's not an easy mistake to make. And so they were getting super upset, story being leaked to the general public, you and I, and news as it tends to do, especially when it's outrageous and it's kind of groundbreaking
Oh,
and
sensational.
and it's like gossip and stuff like that. It was everywhere. It's like super, super fast. And at the time too, in the 50s, people had that faith in their government. Like the government does not lie to us. They tell us everything
They're
that we
doing
need to know.
They're not doing anything
Yeah.
shady behind our
They're not
backs.
hiding anything that we should be worried about.
Yeah. Big Brother's got everything covered. They don't need to.
I think this was around the time too, 54 in the 50s, that story came out about the UFOs flying over the Capitol, Washington D.C.
Yeah, I don't remember
Yeah, there's
the
like
time frame
there's
that
a,
was in. So
there's a picture of it, of them flying like over the Capitol building, like 9
when
of
was
them.
it? When was the California incident where they were just like unloading thousands of rounds at a supposed UFO?
Battle of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I think that was in the 40s because I think they
Yeah, so
thought
it
it
was
was
right around-
German or Japanese.
Yeah, so again, right around this time, all these, Roswell.
I forgot
Battle
all
of Los
about that.
Angeles.
Yeah, there are tons of crazy shit is happening regarding aliens.
Especially in the
people
sky,
are freaking out. They're freaking out, man. They're freaking out. Aliens are everywhere. They're in LA.
It's a huge problem.
It's like it seemed to be at the time like a largely like West Coast issue. People on the East Coast weren't really having that problem.
No,
We were chilling.
no, it's too damn cold. We're going over here.
Too many drugs out
warm.
there, man. People are freaking out. Yeah, it's freaking out, dude. And so, like, they put the story out that it was just asteroids. At least they didn't say it was swamp gas,
Yeah.
like Alan Hynek.
The hell, man. I mean, like, the pure odds that the Earth catches an asteroid?
Yeah, and not just get
It's astronomical because
and
everything has to line up perfectly. The asteroid has to be going the right speed at the right
angle. Yeah,
angle. Everything has to be the right weight.
yeah,
And then once you trap it, it doesn't just go away.
right.
Then it's just in orbit.
Yeah, like a small little moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the odds of it happening
But
pretty
like,
damn small.
My favorite thing is that they're like, no, it's not aliens, it's asteroids. That's super scary too.
Yeah.
Like, what are you
Well,
talking
I don't know
about?
about you, sir, but if there's an asteroid just kind of loosely floating up there,
This
that's an
whole
issue
thing
for
is
me.
scary. Everything that's happening right now is terrifying.
Yeah.
What do you mean
At
it's
any point, this
asteroids?
asteroid could just fall out of the sky.
Yeah, don't tell me it's ash. Tell me it's like a meteorite because that sounds small. Don't tell me it's an
Yeah.
asteroid.
Yeah, because that "ite" at the end of it.
Right.
know?
Yeah, so it makes it sound small. Don't tell me it's an asteroid. That sounds gigantic.
No, it's like, dude, at best, it's a basketball-sized thing.
Right.
It'll burn up before it ever.
Anything
It's
with
the
the
ground.
word roid at the end, I assume is huge. Asteroid. Dude on roids.
Steroids.
It's humongous. Hemorrhoids. They might be small,
Also
but they
terrible.
feel huge. Anything with that last bit of the word.
Yeah,
It's super
never
scary.
good.
It sounds enormous. And so they told them it was asteroids, and the story died down for a while. Then in 1960, though, something, I'll call it a satellite, was tracked in what is known as polar orbit, right? So this is significant, actually, the kind of orbit that it's in. So for those that don't know, it's actually when a satellite is like in a constant circle around the Earth. But what it's doing is it's almost perfect north-south orbit. Right, so it goes over the North Pole and the South Pole and just keeps going that way, right? But the importance of that is that the U.S. or the Soviets at the time had the ability to even do that.
Yeah, there was no they were still trying to get them up there.
Right. They
It's
don't
just-
have the ability.
I think it was like polar orbit is like super hard to get right.
It is. It
It's like
absolutely is.
you risk the potential of like shooting it off into space or
Mhm.
sending it through the atmosphere. So it's like
Right.
real hard.
And I think it's hard to track it too. I think.
I mean, it's something nobody with
Mhm.
space age technology was able to do yet.
Right. They can't put it in that orbital configuration at the time. They couldn't do it. They could do it now, but they
Yeah.
couldn't do it then. You know. So needless to say, that was very unusual and suspicious. It's super
Just a tiny
suspicious.
bit.
It's super suspicious, right? But our friends at the Pentagon, our heroes, delivered a quote unquote explanation for the phenomenon by saying that it was just space debris. So
Yeah.
it's either asteroids or space junk.
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing I would say. I was like, well, what the fuck happened to the asteroid? That's supposedly still up there. Did it burn up? Did it fly away? Like, I'm more worried about that asteroid.
Yeah, dude.
I'm
okay,
still
so
talking about that.
guys at the Pentagon, let me get this straight. So it's either giant space rocks or junk.
Yeah. There's no. in
It's
between.
trash. It's space trash,
Yeah.
which I think maybe aliens consider humans. Space trash.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're space junk. The
Yeah.
Earth.
Yeah, we're the trailer park of the universe. I mean, they lock their doors and pick up speed when they drive by us.
I mean, not only that, right? So to add to the weird orbit that it was in, that we couldn't do at the time, the object was estimated to be 15 tons in weight, super heavy. It's like 30,000 pounds.
Yeah, it's
Super heavy.
Yeah, it's significant.
I don't think satellites
Right.
weigh 30,000 pounds.
I don't know how much they weigh, but that's.
I don't think
even
it's 15
for back
tons.
then, I doubt they were ever anywhere close to that.
Right. So not only was so we got the orbit that's weird, the weight, which is super, super heavy. And it's also known that at the time was traveling twice as fast as any satellite that was known. Twice as fast.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going against the space debris and the asteroid.
Yes. Because it's a
Because
lie. It's
Well,
either a
'cause
lie
everything-
or a guess.
everything
or
has like a
propaganda.
speed limit it goes at.
Right. Correct.
Nothing picks up speed or loses speed unless something
It's pushing it.
directly interacts with it.
Right. That's true. And like I said, they're either lying because they knew what it was. They're guessing
Because they don't know what
because
it
they don't
is.
know. They don't have the ability to really examine it that well. Or they just know we need to get out an explanation for what this is to shut people up. Just say something.
Yeah, we have to put something out there
Right.
to
We can't
keep
just
the
not say
people
something. Yeah.
to keep the people's like faith in us and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't just be silent about that.
Right. So they had to come up with something. And that's
Yeah.
what they did. It's a weather balloon.
Yeah.
You should just use that one again.
Fuck it.
Yeah, that balloon, it just went into space.
It just kept going and going and going. We don't
we
even
put so
know
much
how it
helium
happened.
in it. It just got right into outer space.
Super
stupid.
helium. You don't even know about it yet.
So stupid. If you're one of those people out there that believes that the government was telling the truth about the weather balloon, you're an idiot. And then they came back out like a few years later. Well, they did like the Roswell book. You know what I mean? They did a whole investigation about it. They're like, oh yeah, it was weather balloon. And then they did another one called Case Closed, right? Where they're like, oh, wait a minute. There was this thing called Project Mogul, where they were testing like high altitude parachutes, I believe. And they were throwing dummies out to test the, you know what I mean, like the equivalent, the equivalence of what a human would weigh. But to confuse a parachute and all that stuff for a spaceship, and then to
Confuse a
confuse-
dummy for an alien.
it's not just that it was a dummy. The dummy was 6 foot tall and like 180 pounds.
Yeah. So and
The
we're
size of a
saying-
person, the average person, you know what I mean?
And these things were like 4 foot something.
3 foot, 4 foot
Yeah.
with giant
Yeah, they're
eyes
tiny.
and weird shaped heads. They
There's
were
no way you're
they didn't
mistaken
build
that.
They didn't build the goddamn dummies to look like that. Why
No,
would you? You'd make it look like a person.
no. I mean, this is like a crash test dummy.
Right.
Why the fuck would you make a pig test
Yeah.
dummy if you're trying to see if a human's going to survive it?
Right. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all because it's all a lie.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
that's what they
all a
do
lie.
best at
Mhm.
this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, this object, it was also being studied at the time independently, which I find
It had to be independent at that time. It had to
that's
be.
always a good thing. You
Right.
never want to just take the government scientist's word.
Right.
If you have the government scientist and an independent scientist saying the same thing, it's
Mhm.
probably right.
Right.
You know, because they're not, unless the government got to them, there's nothing in it for them to toe the line,
Right.
essentially.
Right.
Yeah, it was being by astronomers across the country, and they were beginning to obtain like a serious curiosity about this mysterious object.
Well, I mean, based
Just
off
floating
what
up
we
there.
right, because I mean, even just based off the stuff we just said, the
Yeah.
polar orbit, the weight, the speed, the
And
signals
really
that
the
are
only
coming
thing
off
up
of it.
in our orbit that with any interest is the moon. So now you're telling
Right.
all these new young astronomers coming up and all this, hey, there's something else up there.
Right.
Fuck yeah, they want to know about it.
I would. You're a scientist. You're supposed to be curious.
Yeah, that's your whole
As part of
your whole
it's like
deal.
a prerequisite for being a scientist.
you can't be like
When you get a
passive.
job as a scientist, like, how curious are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
2.
Get out.
Yeah, get it.
Get out. You have to be super curious.
The right answer is 10 and a half.
10.5. 10.60718932.6. Exactly.
Pi.
Like, you have to be incredibly like a curious person. You don't mind. You never mind your own business. You know what I mean? You eavesdropping in a
going.
conversation.
Yeah.
You know,
You're
you're super curious.
you're just an annoyance to most people, you know? Yeah, but one of these astronomers was Robert L. Johnson. He was
Right.
also the director of Adler Planetarium
And a
that was in,
blues player.
Chicago, Illinois.
And a blues
he a
player that
blues
made a
player,
deal
or
with the
you just-
devil.
Oh,
We only did an entire episode on it on our last.
I didn't
on our
know.
other
Maybe you
show.
ran into something I didn't catch with this deal. Like,
Robert
that's a
Johnson.
weird fact to throw in, but for sure, you know.
Yeah, he made a deal with the devil at the crossroads.
And he also had a particular fascination with this object.
Sure.
Like, he's quoted saying the object doesn't even have the decency to maintain a regular schedule,
Right.
like any other heavenly or man-made object I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
This dude's like, this thing's a fucking prick.
Yeah, kind of like it doesn't even have like the decency to like let me look at it.
Yeah. It's like he's like,
I just got done telling people how curious I was.
yeah, and now I can't do shit
I
about
can't
it
even. This thing won't let me look at it.
because
What-
he even
what
goes
did he-
on.
He was the director of something, wasn't he? Did you say it? I might
Yeah,
have
yeah,
missed it.
of Adler Planetarium.
Adler. That's what it was. Yeah.
But he even went on to say, like, we don't even know when to watch for it. So he's fucking pissed.
Yeah. They're
He's
trying to
like,
look at it. And they
every
can't.
object in the universe has, or at least our solar system, they have,
A predictable orbit. Yeah.
they're always going to come around X
Mhm.
amount of years, X amount of months, whatever, at this time.
Yep.
Here's when to look for it.
Right.
These Comet's a good example of that. We know
Right.
exactly when that thing's showing up again.
Yeah.
Or how.
Well, the only thing, like at least recently, was and I know I'm not going to say it right. Maru. Did you hear about that?
Maru.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar.
So it was a few years ago now, and it was astronomers in Hawaii found it. That's why it's got that cool island sounding name.
Yeah. It just sounds Hawaiian.
It is. What's because it is or Samoan, and it was like a cigar shaped asteroid or rock or something.
Yeah.
It was the first interstellar object detected ever
that
came from another solar system that we
Yeah,
detected.
I remember
And
that.
it
reading
flew
about it.
by, and they predicted that it was gonna, they could track it was going to go around the sun, but like it was doing weird stuff where it was going like a certain speed, and then like as it got towards the sun, it like sped up to like almost like that slingshot maneuver you hear about in the movies all the time. We're like slingshot around the moon.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
It always makes for a good scene, though.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when it's Billy Bob Thornton telling you to do it.
Yeah.
I'll walk you through it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
hmm
Mhm.
We need the slingshot around the moon.
Ain't got no moon in
Those
it.
French fried potatoes. I'm hungry. But yeah, but simply put, since this object was in orbit, they would expect to be able to track it.
I would
And, you know,
assume.
to know when and where they could see it.
Right.
And strangely enough, the object would appear on some nights, other nights it wouldn't be there. It makes no sense. It's kind of like it's being controlled or has its own will, you know.
Like
It's
some
coming to
sort
go when
of,
it pleases.
I mean, the way that I look at it, it's some sort of maybe alien AI.
Yeah,
It's
I mean that makes sense too.
self-controlling itself, and it's self-aware, and it's doing its job, and
You might know that it's being tracked,
it can probably
disappears for a few years or a few days, whatever.
right. Or
Reappears
it's
somewhere else.
or like, what if it does something where like it goes a few orbits or like north to south, and then it goes east to west, and it's kind of like
then it takes
changing-
off into
it's doing the whole planet.
yeah. Then it goes
can't
out
do
into
the whole
outer
planet
space
north
for a
to
little
south.
while, then comes back.
Right. It does like a data dump and then comes back and gets fresh data.
Yeah, like it might even yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Hard drives are full.
Yeah, yeah,
Go drop it off.
yeah. Space hard drives. Yeah, yeah.
Whatever they use for hard drives over there.
All right.
But not long after this, though, like the statement made by Johnson, the satellite was photographed by Grumman, I believe, aircraft company.
Yep.
Now more commonly known as Northrop Grumman. It was
Yep.
basically like, you know, their government contractor for a number of technologies. The military then took a huge interest in this, you know, the Black Knight.
Right.
Well, it's not called the Black Knight yet, but it will be.
Right.
So much so that they actually started a committee to research the quote unquote satellite.
Right.
You know, the government loves their committees.
You got to start one.
Yeah.
You gotta.
No matter what. No matter what, there's a committee.
How
for
is anything
something.
getting done without large groups of people arguing over a simple task?
Yeah. It takes with 3 weeks just to set up the first meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's, you know,
It's a group of
conflict of-
chiefs.
schedule conflicts and
It's a bunch of people all thinking they're the boss.
yeah.
That's all it is.
But as you may expect, the committee's findings were kept secret.
Yeah.
And any recorded sightings they
Predictably.
may have had have long since been forgotten. Yeah, they either disposed of them or they hid them away.
They're hidden away.
Yeah.
There's no way they get rid of that kind of information. Even if it seems insignificant, they got it somewhere.
Yeah, I mean that's why like when all those people, you know, they request documents, you know, pertaining to aliens, you get all
You're
these
talking about,
documents, but they have the blacked out lines and shit.
a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah.
It's redacted.
Then you get it, yeah, and half the damn page is missing because there's just a big black line through it.
That's what we should have called the show. Next episode, we're changing the show name to Redacted.
Redacted.
God dang, that's a good one. Trademark Redacted per podcast.
PM.
You can't do that. You can't just use it. I bet you there already is one called that.
Yeah, probably.
I'm sure there is.
But this is where we're actually going to leave off.
Yep.
Next week we're going to, pick right up where we with
Right.
this, committee.
Yeah, there's some stuff left that needs to be put out there for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe not like a whole hour, but there's definitely some more stuff we need to get out about it, because we're gonna get into the dude that like thinks that he decoded the message that it's sending out, what it says, which okay,
Like how I want
Okay.
to know how the hell he figured, but then it's
because he's
whole
a
thing.
scientist and he's super curious.
Yeah. Did
That's
you hear me
why.
earlier, you son of a bitch?
Yeah. How many times do I have to tell you? I hate minding my own business.
Yeah.
How many times do I got to tell you? All right, guys, that's Black Knight Satellite Part 1 in the books. We definitely have to do a Part 2. There's some more stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's just like a super interesting topic to be talking about too, man. So
Yeah, it is, because there's pictures of it. Like, it exists. It's there. It's not, nobody's denying that something is there. They're just denying what it is.
yeah, like
Or they're debating
government
what it
saying
is, or
one
they're arguing
thing,
about what it is.
the conspiracy theorists are saying something else.
Okay, I'm gonna get on the establishment team here for a second. if anything like this ever happens and people think it's aliens and the government's like, no, it's not aliens, you asshole, they're never going to believe that it's not the opposite of whatever the government is saying.
Oh,
Right.
100%.
Maybe sometimes they are like, no, dude, you don't understand because you're dumb. What's happening? But sometimes I also think, maybe most of the time, they are lying. They're covering it up.
Yeah,
Because
because
it's
even
control.
if they know it's what
it's
it
control
is.
thing too.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
at
what
the
do you
same
mean?
time, you don't want your whole population panicking.
Yeah, but even now though, I think maybe then 60, 50, 60, 70s, okay. I mean the 70s, I mean there was cults everywhere in the 60s and 70s. So
Yes, the last thing you want to do is give the Colts.
I mean,
fucking
people
ammo.
believe in anything back then. But now I think it's so ingrained into our culture, especially pop culture, that I don't think anybody's going to be surprised. I really don't.
No, I
I
mean,
think the people that would freak out are at a very minimal level now. Like the group would be very small.
I think a lot of times it'll be like the hyper religious people
Well,
would be the ones
maybe,
really going off.
but if you remember too, the Vatican also has a huge observatory. I think it's called Lucifer. Actually, I really believe that's actually what it's
No,
called.
like that's
Like,
actually true, man. Like
yeah.
the Vatican does have a department specifically looking into
Aliens.
aliens.
Yeah, for sure. And they came
They-
out saying
they-
like,
they-
hey,
yeah,
like
they-
we believe that there's definitely aliens in the universe because God didn't just populate Earth. Because why make the entire universe for nothing?
Yeah, I mean, like
You know
you
what I
could
mean?
see other universes. Why would if there is
That's
a God, why would he stop at one planet?
It's a waste of infinity if nothing else is happening.
Yeah,
It's an absolute waste. But they're coming out saying like, yeah, we believe that it's real, that they're real. I mean, are they coming to Earth? That's another story. But yeah, that's the separation too. You got to make sometimes too. Like, do you believe in aliens? Like, yeah, I do because there's 100 quadrillion planets. Yes, probably so. Are they coming to Earth? That's a completely different conversation. You know what I mean? That's a different
Yeah, I mean,
belief
yeah.
level. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I believe in aliens.
Even
I just don't
it
believe they're
works
coming to
out
Earth.
mathematically.
Right. I don't believe they're coming to Earth. I do, but some people don't. If you
That's
suck,
the whole thing. It
if you
depends on.
suck, you don't believe they're coming.
I mean, it's just stupid at this point to believe
Yeah.
with all the planets that we can.
I think this is a common
scientifically
argument people
verified.
make. I think
Yeah.
like people who believe in aliens, this is the argument they make. The vastness of space, the amount of planets that have been discovered. So far, every star has had planets around it. Every one of them.
Whether it's only
Everyone.
one planet
Yeah.
or 15.
Right.
And we
They're even
found
coming
so
out now
many
with
planets.
James Webb that they're starting to think the universe is way older than they thought.
I
'Cause
mean,
they can see deeper now.
dude, I mean, they found what 20, 30 planets, I think. Maybe
think-
even more than that. It's like 500.
No, it's in like the tens of thousands now. I
I meant like that are in that
oh,
Goldilocks.
the Goldilocks zone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like 500 or 300.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Huge.
It's a lot. And there's like the
Dude,
super
and they
Earths
got one
that are like
that-
5
yeah,
times
they
the
call
size
it
of our planet.
Earth
But
2.0 is
Yeah.
double the size of Earth, and they're like, no, it definitely has water.
right,
It definitely has land.
right,
It means there's an atmosphere.
right,
What are the pure odds that nothing grew on that planet?
right. Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's exactly like Earth, just that it has similar properties of Earth. And now I think that the James Webb stuff is going to start to be able to tell what's on it. Like, is there like methane, stuff like that that indicates life is breathing the oxygen and expelling carbon dioxide. And I don't know, maybe methane if they have cows, space
Or
cows.
Space cow. I was like something like that.
Yeah, you know what I mean, where they're farting a ton and putting methane in the atmosphere. But they're going to be able to find it. That's the argument now. It's like it's so big, it's improbable, if
how
not
can you-
almost
how can you-
impossible.
Logically deny
Right.
that if nothing else, dude, there's got to be at least simple life forms.
Microbes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
even if there are like complex ones like lizards and stuff like that, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's bipedal grays running around.
Right. I mean, it also leaves, this kind of discussion, I think, and if it was ended up to be true, right? Like, we found proof of life in space and it's microbes. You're going to have the people like, so a microbe in space is considered life, but like if you have a baby and it's like 6 weeks old, you don't consider that life.
Yeah, you have that whole group.
You're going to have that argument, and that's a valid argument.
Yeah,
it's a valid.
See,
argument.
In my opinion, finding microbes in space on a asteroid or something, or
a moon,
that
or
overshadows almost everything else we got going on.
Agreed.
That means 100% verified proof that life has started somewhere else.
It answers like one of the biggest questions ever asked.
Yeah.
Ever. Are we alone in the universe? Nope.
And
not
the answer
anymore.
is no. Yeah.
Next is there a God?
If nothing else, life has
what
started
happens after
elsewhere.
we die? Is there a God? What happens after we die?
Yeah.
Where does consciousness come from? Because we have no clue.
I mean, it opens a lot of like theological kind of things too.
It does. It's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing. All right. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, we're gonna do a part 2. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. As always, we love you. Go follow us on Facebook, on Instagram at Discount Paranormal. I almost forgot the name of the damn show. And join us next week. Again, we love you. Bye.
See y'all later.